Welcome to the session on artificial intelligence. In this session, we'll be discussing how to write appropriate prompting for the ChatGPT. Nowadays, you will find that many of us are using ChatGPT frequently. Whether we are doing some work or whether we are searching for something, you will find that the people are going for the ChatGPT and they are using in order to find the answers to their questions. But you will find that even if you ask some question to the ChatGPT, always it will not be possible to get a correct answer from the ChatGPT. This is mainly because of the not proper prompting for the ChatGPT. In this session, we will understand how it is possible to get the correct answers from the ChatGPT by using the appropriate prompting. So we want to get the best out of the AI conversations by using the ChatGPT, and this is possible only when you do a proper prompting for the ChatGPT. So let us understand how it is possible. Friends, as you know that you are viewing this session on my YouTube channel, and you can subscribe to the channel so that you can watch many other educational videos on the various topics of electronics and computer science. So let us start the session and let us understand how to do a good prompting for the ChatGPT. Now let us first of all understand what we mean by prompting. Prompting is a question or an instruction that you give to the ChatGPT in order to obtain certain solution. So it will determine the quality and relevance of the response. So prompting is very necessary and prompting should be good always. So if you have a good prompt, then you will get the good result. So the prompting is very essential part of AI conversation and one need not to neglect it. Otherwise, you will find that the ChatGPT may give you an answer which may not be correct, or you will find that which may not be appropriate for you. So why it is necessary to learn the prompting? Prompting is necessary because it will save us our time and it will also improve our productivity. Because whenever we are sitting on a ChatGPT on any AI tool, then you will find that you are devoting your time and you will find that you must get an answer quickly and that is suitable for you. So whenever you want to save your time and whenever you want to increase your productivity, then it is necessary to learn the prompting. Prompting will generate the accurate and useful content. You will find that the prompting can give you the better generation of emails, the better generation of code, or better generation of quiz, or better explanation. So whatever the purpose for which you are using the ChatGPT, you will find that if you want to have a better output, then it is necessary that you must learn the appropriate prompting. There are different types of prompts available. So for example, we can have the prompt such as instructional, where we can write the prompt such as list the 5 benefits of artificial intelligence in education. Sometimes you will find that the prompt can be creative. For example, we can write a short poem about artificial intelligence and robots. So ChatGPT can answer such questions. Sometimes you will find that the prompt can be role based. For example, you can ask your ChatGPT to act as a teacher and explain the computing. So you will find that the ChatGPT can play any kind of role. So if you are lacking of a teacher and if you want your ChatGPT to work as a teacher, it is possible that you can assign the ChatGPT a role of a teacher. Sometimes we can use the ChatGPT for analytical purpose. Say for example, we can compare the artificial intelligence and human intelligence, and you can ask the ChatGPT to give the comparison in the form of a table. So such type of the prompting is always possible with the ChatGPT. Now, how it is possible to have a good prompt? So there is a definite structure for a good prompt. So for example, your prompt must be in context. Say for example, you must know the ChatGPT what kind of topic you are dealing with. Your prompt can be an instruction. It can be instruction can be a part of the prompt. Say for example, you should expect what the ChatGPT should do for you. You should have a proper format. Say for example, while writing the prompting, you should mention whether you want a list or whether you want a table or whether you want a simple paragraph. So that must be very clearly mentioned within your prompt. You will find that while writing the prompt, there should be certain word limit, there should be limit of tone, there should be limit of audience. Say for example, you can ask the ChatGPT to explain the blockchain to the school students in 100 words. So instead of just writing explain blockchain, it is always better to write the blockchain for whom you are asking. You are asking for the school children, and for how many words you are asking. Say for example, you are asking for 100 words. So such type of the prompting will give you always a better result. So there are certain do's and there are certain do not for the prompting. Say for example, you should be very specific and you should be very clear while writing the prompting. You can use the step-by-step instruction. You can use a definite format. So you need to define a format. You need to assign the role. Say for example, you can ask the ChatGPT to work as a teacher. You can ask the ChatGPT to work as a developer. So in this way, you can assign certain role. So these are the do's of the prompting. There are certain don'ts of the prompting. Say for example, you can tell the ChatGPT that tell me something about AI. So if you write something like this, then you will find that it will be a kind of vague prompting. So don't be vague. You don't skip the context. Context is very essential. So whenever you are making the use of the ChatGPT, then the contexting is very essential. Also, you do not overload the prompt. Do not ask many things within one prompt only. So that may create a confusion for the ChatGPT and the answer will not be generated appropriately. You can avoid unclear formatting request. So the format should be there. If you are not using any appropriate format, then that is not good for your prompt. So we can think of certain examples of how to write the better prompts. Say for example, you are asking your ChatGPT, tell me about AI. So it is better if you ask your ChatGPT list and explain 3 types of AI with examples. So this is more specific. Say for example, if you ask summarize it, then it is better if you ask something like this, summarize the paragraph in the 3 bullet points for a beginner. So that is the more better prompting for the ChatGPT. Say for example, if you are prompting in education, then you can draft the assignments. You can ask for a generation of quizzes. You can go for the lesson planning. And whenever you are translating the content into the simple form, then that is always good for the ChatGPT. You can explain the tough concepts at UG, PG and school level, and you can generate the ideas and you can summarize the context by using the ChatGPT. So there are certain advanced prompting tips that one can make the use of. You can use multi-turn prompting instead of single turn. You can go for the multi-turn. You can use a few short prompts with examples. You can ask for code, table or bullet outputs. You can control the tone and audience. For example, you want to have an explanation as a 10-year-old. So ChatGPT is possible to play any kind of role. So what can be a person of 10 years old will answer. In this way, you can ask your ChatGPT. You can make the use of the prompt tools. Say for example, we can make the use of the tools such as ChatGPT. We can make the use of the tools such as Prompt Hero. We can make the use of the schoolmagicschool.ai or FlowGPT. There are certain templates available. For example, we can generate a quiz on certain topic, or you can summarize in certain points by making the use of the templates. So there are certain vague prompts. Say for example, as I said, if you ask the ChatGPT, tell me something about AI, then the ChatGPT may generate the output that AI is a very vast field related to the machine doing smart things. So it is too generic, not useful. So what is wrong in this prompt? there is no direction, there is no format, there is no focus. So the better prompt will be explain the three world uses of AI in the healthcare in the bullet points. And in this way, you will find that the ChatGPT can generate a better output. Sometimes the prompts are overloaded. Say for example, you can write the prompts such as explain blockchain, write quiz and compare it to the databases and make it creative. So the output will be mixed, unfocused response, or the ChatGPT may stop in between. So in such a case, you can break the prompt into three prompts. First of all, ask for explanation of blockchain, then write of quiz, and then compare it to the database in the table. So that will be a good idea to divide the prompt into different prompts. You can group or individual task. Say for example, you can summarize an article by using the ChatGPT. You can generate the 5 quiz questions by using a lesson, or you can ask the ChatGPT to explain the recursion in simple terms. So that is what you can do at your home whenever you want to practice the prompting. So in summary, we can say that prompting is a skill and it is not a magic. So you have to understand it, it is a skill. So when you give the better input, there are always chances of getting the better output. You need to be very clear, you need to be very specific, you need to be very structured, and you need to practice the proper prompting regularly in order to master it. So thank you friends for viewing the session. Hopefully you have understood how to write proper prompting for the ChatGPT. Thank you all.